Welcome to Light Over Heat with Professor David Yamani. Let's continue last week's discussion of gun safety by talking about safe storage of firearms. The last stop on my recent visit to DC was to visit the folks at Brady United Against Gun Violence. The backstory to that visit was that I was on their Red, Blue, and Brady podcast last summer, and it was a very good experience. They were very professional, very well prepared, and at the end of the podcast, they invited me to come by anytime I was in DC. So being in DC, I took them up on that opportunity recently. We had the opportunity during my visit to talk about a number of things, but in particular, their End Family Fire initiative. Now, the problem that the End Family Fire campaign is meant to address can be seen in data like the number of children who live in homes in which firearms are not secured, the number of parents who don't secure their firearms but think that their kids don't have access to them or don't know where they are, which is contradicted when we talk to kids in those homes and ask them, do you know where your parents' guns are? Do you ever handle your parents' guns when they're not around? And honestly, anybody who has had kids knows that kids know where your stuff is and get into your stuff if you do not keep it secure from them. So giving people who are not authorized to access your firearms access by not keeping them secure, whether it's your own kids, whether it's the neighbor kids, whether it's your grandchildren, or whether it's a member of your own family who, for whatever reason, shouldn't have access to those firearms. And I also think about school shootings and instances in which children have taken firearms from their parents or their parents have given them access to their firearms to that detrimental effect. So Brady defines family fire as a shooting involving an improperly stored or misused gun in the home that results in death or injury. And the solution, or one of the solutions to the problem of family fire, is safe storage. So Brady writes, family fire is preventable. Gun owners are an essential part of preventing gun violence, and safe gun storage is a great place to start. And you'll get no argument from me and from many responsible gun owners on this point. But as often is the case, the devil is in the details. So what does Brady mean when they say safe gun storage? Well, they tell us here. Safe storage is keeping your guns locked, unloaded, separate from ammunition, and inaccessible to children. And right away, we can see that there are many people who are responsible gun owners who will object to this particular definition of safe storage, particularly locking their guns unloaded and also keeping the ammunition stored separately. Now, not all of those who are in the gun violence prevention community have this same understanding of safe gun storage. So I found recently an editorial in the American Journal of Public Health. The title is Talking About Firearm Injury and Gun Violence, Words Matter. And they provide a very interesting take on the issue of safe gun storage. So they begin by saying, injury prevention discussions should include an acknowledgement of the strong sense of personal responsibility and commitment to safety common among gun owners. Right? So don't approach gun owners as if they're deviant, as if they have bad intentions. Gun owners want gun safety as much as anybody does, as I talked about in last week's video. They continue, language about secure firearm storage, a core injury prevention strategy, also matters. Locked can have different meanings, as devices for home firearm storage vary by cost and technological complexity. Some devices require the firearm to be unloaded, for example, cable locks, whereas others can be used with a loaded firearm, for example, lockboxes. Larger devices can store multiple firearms, including rifles or shotguns, for example, large gun safes. Individuals who want access to a firearm for personal defense may not want to store it unloaded and locked with the ammunition separate. In the case of these owners, storage devices that are specifically designed to stage defensive firearms to prevent unauthorized access, for example, quick access safes, may be more acceptable. Now, I think that this understanding of safe storage would be very acceptable to many, if not most, gun owners. And how is it that an editorial in the journal, American Journal of Public Health, has this kind of language in it? Well, if you look at the authors of this piece, you find people who are involved in emergency medicine and the public health community, the usual suspects. But we also see among the authors someone named Rob Pincus. Right? Now, many people know Rob Pincus is a longtime member of the gun training community, and even more so, I think, firearms educator, both within the gun culture, but also as a spokesman from within the gun culture to those outside of it. And his ability to get involved with people who are working on these issues and to talk across these divides, I think really yields a positive outcome such as this. And this raises a broader question as to whether these kinds of dialogues can bring more light over heat to issues like safe storage. And at least from my perspective, it's worth a shot.